Something has closed the doors. Most unsettling.
I think the station's defenses are activating.
We should move forward before more defenses activate.
Okay. So, this is also random. Is it random? I don't know. I don't know if the I know that there are lots of different paths through this mission. There's lots of different things that can happen. So sometimes you'll go through this room, and this room is fucking awesome. Basically, you have to, like, dodge, like, solar flares, because the shielding is going out. So you have to, like, stay in the shade. And it's a really awesome little room to run through. I don't remember what this one is.
I remember this room. The security protocols shut us out when we first arrived.
Prepare yourself. We must defend Dr. Cooper.
Okay, so that containment field does not work against airborne targets very well.
Activate a console while I work on this. Excellent. I can keep moving forward over here.
Personal space, Tuvok. What did I just say?
I need you to activate a console while I work on this. Perfect. I'm almost done.
Kind of sad that we've gotten this way instead of the cool way.
We're through.
We must power down the room's shielding to access the control panels. The doctor and I will continue our work while you disable the lower panels. And we can complete our mission. The honor of deactivating the station is yours.
That's a nice little gate in the distance. I'm sure that's not going to be menacing us at all.
There we go. The deactivation program is moving nicely.
Doctor, I'm detecting something curious. Energy levels in the gateway in front of us are rising at an exponential rate. It appears to be activating.
What? Let me check. Oh, this is not good. The gateway is designed to be an escape hatch in the event this station goes offline. We cannot deactivate the jump protocols without activating the gateway as well.
Is there any way to override the protocols?
None that I can see. If we want to stop the jump, we have to activate that gate.
It seems we have little choice. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is nothing comes out of these gateways narratively at all, despite the fact that they are a literal treasure trove of adventure hooks. You could put literally anything you could imagine on the other sides of those gateways. Just come up with, you could practically come up with, you know what lots of games do? They create expansion packs with an entirely new setting to explore. You know, this is kind of a tale as old as PC gaming itself. Shivering Isles, for example. You know, Shivering Isles was awesome. For those of you who've never played Oblivion, if you haven't played Oblivion, go play Oblivion. Oblivion's cool. We're all locked inside. You're looking for cool games to play. If you've never played Elder Scrolls Oblivion, go do it. It's fantastic. And Shivering Isles is real cool. Real fun. And real imaginative. You could make anything on the other side. You could create an entirely new galaxy map. You could set it wherever you want. You could set it in another galaxy. You could create whatever the hell you want there. Come up. You've practically no limitations on what you could come up with. It blows my mind once again, because this came out of Gecko's mouth that Star Trek Discovery had to save them because they didn't know where to take the story. There are hundreds, thousands of these gateways open with who knows what on the other side of them. This was so significant as to be a plot point as to why, as to this very moment. We're going to discuss we're going to discuss that with Tuvok right now. It blows my mind that you have never taken advantage of that. You could do anything on the other side of these things. Whole new setting. Set it in Andromeda. Let's go meet the Kelvins. Let's go see what's wrong with the Kelvins' neck of the woods in Andromeda. Set it in Triangulum. Let's go check out. Set it in the large or small Magellanic Clouds. There's this thing in the books called the Red King, in the Large Magellanic Cloud, which is basically a fucking Lovecraftian entity. That sounds cool. Let's go look at that. Let's go see what that setting could imagine Star Trek crossed with Call of Cthulhu. Imagine the Large Magellanic Cloud is basically a Lovecraftian setting, and we explore it. And we explore it in starships. How cool is that? How do you not do anything with this? The possibilities are literally endless. But we're about to have a conversation about how we can't risk opening more gates when absolutely nothing happens as a result of these gates. Nothing. Can you imagine what would be going on? Can you imagine Starfleet, the Klingons, the Romulans garrisoning these things the moment they're discovered, just in case something comes through? Because who knows where these go or what is going to come out of them. They are, every one of these gates are literal ticking time bombs. The last time something like this happened was the Bajoran wormhole next to Deep Space Nine, leading all the way to the Gamma Quadrant, and that ended with the Dominion War. Who knows what's on the other side of all these things? How do you not follow up on this? Come on! It's such a cool premise You could do anything! It's heartbreaking, it really is. Because this game, as much as I give Cryptic crap, they have come up with some incredibly cool stuff. Some incredibly creative premises that they just don't follow through on. That's one of the biggest travesties of this game, is you came up with so much cool shit and you just never follow through on it. Ugh.
As Tuvok said, we have no choice. If we want to stop this sphere from moving, we need to activate the gateway. Our time here is limited. The Voth will return in force. We have to do this now. There is no other option.
Okay, so I just talked about this discussion. I'm going to play this discussion out just so you, if you've never played this mission, just so you get the gravity of this discussion. The risk is too high. We can't risk opening another gateway.
I know you have a past with the Iconian gateways, but our options are limited. The choice is logical. If the Voth jump the sphere to an area near their homeworld, billions of Omega particles will be expended. With the degradation of the sphere's systems caused by centuries of disuse, there is an 86.8% chance that the expenditure will cause an Omega detonation, destroying subspace across a vast region of the Delta Quadrant. The alternative is opening a single gateway. That is far less of a risk.
The risk is too high. We can't activate the gateway.
That is your choice. However, my orders are to neutralize the jump capabilities of this sphere. I will have to do what I think is best, even if you do not agree.
Tuvok shuts down the station. So you get overridden. If you're like, no, it's too dangerous, Tuvok overrides you to do it. And then nothing happens with these gateways ever again. One thing happens during the Gamma Quadrant story, where we find yet another gateway. And you can use it as a shortcut to the Gamma Quadrant. That's it. That's it. I was shocked they even remembered these things during Victorious Life. I was amazed they even remembered these gateways exist, because of how little has come out of these things ever since, and how much and how big a deal they should have been. This is game-changing. Game-changing stuff. Tuvok shuts down the station.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could have found a better way. I failed you both.
Do not dwell on this. If there was another option, we would have found it. One moment. We are being hailed. Tuvok here.
Chief Engineer Tarkaram of the Dyson here, Admiral.
Acknowledged, Chief. Are all of your systems restored?
The opening of the gateway cleared up the ambient distortion disruptions. Do you need transport?
Yes, I want to get off this station now.
We are ready to depart. Chief, do you have a lock?
Admiral Tuvok, come in.
Dyson, 3 to be on.
You can't get a lock. You need to get out of the hot zone. Move!
Oh, we can't go through that way.
We're going to die. We're going to die.
We have a lock on you, sir. Just give the word.
Energize.
Good to have you on board, sir.
Oh my god, look at this bar.
The fleet and your ship are still engaged with the Voth, but several Voth ships are making their way towards the gateway. One of their dreadnoughts has already passed through. As the only available ship, we have orders to stop the other Voth from entering the gateway.
Understood. This is Cryptic's latest commercial ships they're going to force you to fly. At this point, everybody was getting a little bit tired of this. Everybody just wanted to fly their ship. Like, it was already getting just... I don't care about these ships you have in the store. I want to fly my ship. A lot of people were complaining. Especially since this thing is really, really underpowered compared to the player's ship. I feel like the Waglinde would have destroyed both of these ships already. Like, they wouldn't have lasted a few seconds. Please go away. I could go into tactical mode, but that pretty much turns this thing into a glass cannon, so we're not going to do that. Come on, just go away. Oh, it just disappeared. Okay.
There are no more Voth in the vicinity, but one dreadnought did go through the gateway. If my readings are correct, it is passing into another Dyson sphere. This one deeper in the Delta Quadrant. If the Voth are allowed to enter another sphere, they will try to claim it, as they have fought to claim this one.
Enter the gateway.
Navigational readings indicate we are in the Delta Quadrant. However, We are inside a Dyson sphere.
How?
There are no known structures of this type in this region.
How?
I'm detecting the presence of a Starfleet vessel, the USS Gold. That ship disappeared on a survey of the Janolan Dyson sphere at the precise instant the Iconian Gateway network was reset to save New Romulus.
Okay, first question. How the fuck does our navigational system know where the hell we are when we're inside a solid sphere? There's no star fix. None. How the fuck do we know where we are right now? That always bugged me a little. There's no stars. There's a star. The star that the Dyson sphere is built around, although the correct term is Dyson shell. A Dyson sphere is basically a huge network of satellites around a star. A Dyson shell is a solid construct, which is what we're in right now. There's no star fix here. There's no stars visible. Like, all that, like, way out there in the distance, that's ground. That's this. That's cities. That's farmland. And by the way, let's talk about the Janolan Dyson sphere for a moment. How cool a setting would this be? Think about it. How cool a setting would the Janolan sphere be? So, in the the next arc, we're in the Delta Quadrant now. We're going to establish a permanent command in the Delta Quadrant to explore it. And we're going to base it in the Janolan sphere. So what does that entail? Well, you have to have base personnel. You have to have maintenance personnel. You have to have security. You have to have a garrison, essentially, to defend the place. You have to have a home fleet, which means you got to feed all these people. You see all this sort of agrarian land mass sort of everywhere, like lots of lakes and stuff. You have to have residential sectors, which eventually means you have to have some form of keeping people entertained, keeping them amused, busy, in their day-to-day life, which also means eventually opening up businesses. You have to have, you're going to have shops, you're going to have restaurants, you're going to have people coming here to serve or do business with the people who are living here. So you have this entire... You already have the beginnings of this huge population springing around. Because it's a base in the Delta Quadrant. You have colonists who are coming here to, settle, colonies and do survey, do Federation and Alliance research colonies and stuff. Like bases, out of the Janolan sphere. And then, because of the Iconian War and all the carnage of that, you have a massive refugee crisis. You have all these refugees. You've got planets that have been glassed by the Iconians. You have all this war and destruction. Where do all these people go? Well, we've got a Dyson sphere with all this landmass and all this space, but we can only clear it so fast because there's so much to do. How cool. That's all out. This is all off the top of my head in the course of a few minutes, and you don't know where to take your game next. Come on. How cool a setting would this be if you invested time into developing it as its own separate thing? You could make that a reputation. You could make people choose between, they could make players. Think about it. Okay. Think about the potential, if you did a war arc, right? The Federation and the Klingons go to war again. And the Romulan Republic is caught in the middle because they're allied with them both. They don't know which side to take. Meanwhile, in Delta Command, which is what it's going to be called, which is what the game calls, the Alliance Command based out of the Janolan Sphere. You have Klingons, Romulan Republic, you have Federation all working together. Suddenly war breaks out back home. What happens here? That's not a cool story you want to tell? What happens here? Do they work together? Do they decide, no, that's bullshit? Like, after you've worked together to build this place into a new home in the Delta Quadrant, because you would have to. Like, if the gateways for any reason shut down, right, and you'd be completely isolated in the Delta Quadrant, you'd have to build this place up into a place that could survive that. So you've effectively started a new home in the Delta Quadrant. Like, you are living here now. You have your own apartment. You have player housing. Think of that. And then you have, like, stuff going on. You have a war breakout in the Alpha Quadrant. And you're here in Delta Command. And the Federation, the Klingons, the Romulans, like, what are we going to do? Like, we don't want to fight. We've been fighting, like, alongside each other all this time to build this place into a home just to burn it down? Because they don't have their shit together across the galaxy? What do we do? That's a cool story! And that's off the top of my head, and you don't know where you're gonna take the game, Gecko. Really? Come on. It's mad, that quote maddens me. that you have no idea where to take the game when you have all this cool shit you could think of. You have so much potential here, so many cool ideas, but we don't know what to do. We had to be rescued by Star Trek Discovery. No, you fucking didn't. Okay, rant over, I promise. The Jenolan Dyson Sphere.
This sphere was discovered by the crew of the USS Jenolan in 2294. The USS Enterprise D rescued Montgomery Scott, a survivor of the Jenolan 75 years later. However, it now appears that the Jenolan sphere had the same jump capabilities as the Solanae, and moved to this location with the gold inside.
Interesting. What is the status of the gold?
I am detecting disabled systems on the gold, but there is no weapons damage. Also, sensors indicate that the Voth Dreadnought has its weapons armed, but has not fired.
I would like to point out that the gold is a reference to the novelverse. Captain David Gold is the captain of the starship Da Vinci, which is the hero ship of the Corps of Engineers books, or at least I think he's retired at this point. I think it's Captain Gomez now, who is in command of the Da Vinci in the novel canon. Captain Sonia Gomez, I think. Which is a name you recognize if you watch Q-Who in Next Gen, and I think she appeared in another episode as well. But she was a really klutzy ensign back then, and she takes multiple levels throughout, like, stuff like the Klingon and Dominion Wars and stuff. Hail the USS Gold, find out what they know. Which we have to do from over here, because faster than light communication apparently does not work from a few hundred kilometers away.
Thank the prophets. I knew someone would find us. We were on a routine survey in the Jenolan Dyson Sphere when something happened. Systems that have been dormant for centuries activated. The energy readings were off the scale. Then a flash and...
We're here now, you're not alone.
My nav computer claims we're in the Delta Quadrant. If that's right, this entire Dyson Sphere somehow moved itself more than 50,000 light years from its previous position. Since then, we've been stuck. I would have taken Voyager's path back home if we could get out of the sphere. The doors were locked tight and the gateway powered down as soon as we arrived.
Okay, again, how do these nav systems know you're in the Delta Quadrant when there's literally nothing to get a fix on? There's just ground in all directions. How does this work? Let's see, the sphere did move, but we can help you return home.
Glad to have the
Theoretically.
help. Supplies are running low. But what was that ship that just passed us? Shares some signs of Voth tech, but our databanks don't have anything like that.
Explain everything that has happened with the Voth and the Solanae Dyson Sphere.
Another Dyson Sphere? It's taken us 40 years to study this one, and we're not even close to understanding it. And if that ship was Voth, it would explain why they ignored our hails. They came in with their weapons armed and then simply stopped. Didn't see us as a threat. The ship set course for the sealed door and is just sitting there. They're ignoring us. I promised my crew we'd get home. If you could send over a team with some spare components, I can get this ship ready to travel.
We'll transport over a few of our engineers to help.
I have extensive experience with the Voth. While they are arrogant, it is not like them to completely ignore a potential threat. It may be that they sense a greater danger. I suggest we approach and attempt to hail them. Voyager found that some Voth were open to negotiation. We should make every attempt to find a peaceful solution.
Alright. You are neglecting to mention, Tuvok, that Voyager found a significantly greater percentage of Voth that were willing to basically murderize you just to prove a point. So, not a great example. Also, we've encountered way more Voth at this point than Voyager ever met, and nearly all of them have tried to murder us save for one scientist. So, yeah. That's a bad example, Tuvok. Excuse me, the Voth ship. I'm just going to scan this magnesite. Hello.
Warning, ship is under attack.
The Voth are moving towards the door.
Tuvok?
Your query will have to wait, Doctor. Shields are down and we... You're not... You're not Cooper.
No!
The weak shall perish.
How is he still talking when he has no vocal cords anymore?
Captain, the Undine outside of the sphere are powering weapons. The mammalian ship is still disabled.
Arm all weapons. We will destroy the creatures and then return for the mammals.
I am unharmed, but we are in danger. We are deep within the Delta Quadrant, right where Cooper wanted us. We do not know how long this infiltrator has impersonated Cooper.
I do.
Or the extent of what he has done. However, I am quite familiar with the tactics of Species 8472. We will repel the Undine and survive to warn the Alpha Quadrant of the renewed threat.
Which is
Finally, a
stupid,
worthy adversary for my new ship.
as there shouldn't be a threat, because the Undine of all people should understand that we are not the ones attacking them, and that, you know, we could probably help them stop the ones who are. But sure, yeah, Undine, invasion. Go ahead.
This ship can take it.
I feel like if you were gonna...
Experience with the Undine. You do not. They are extremely dangerous.
I feel like if you were gonna cram the player into another ship, you missed the opportunity to make it Voyager.
Any assistance you require.
You could have put the player in command of Voyager instead of just some ugly C-store ship. Or you could have just let the player use their own ship, which is what everybody was saying. I want to use my own ship. Yeah, you could have had like Voyager with like Voyager's new crew, like Voyager's 25th century crew. You could have gotten to know them. That would have been cool. Oh, good, Corrin's here. Yay! I'm so glad Corrin's here to make the situation worse. Come on, go away.
Good to see you. We would have arrived sooner, but there was a Voth fleet in the way.
Where's my ship?
Congratulations on a successful mission. Now the Romulan Republic will take over. We'll set up a command center for further operations. I'm sure Command will contact you when your presence is needed.
About that, I don't believe the Republic has the authority to do that.
No, this ends now. Our generosity to the Romulans can only extend so far. The Klingon Empire claims this Dyson sphere as its own. Starfleet and the Republic would be wise to keep their distance. Or else.
Or else what, Corrin? Please enlighten me. The sphere is already claimed by the Federation. You have no claim here. Yeah.
Oh? Are you prepared to back that statement with action?
Yes.
The Klingon Empire has restrained itself again and again in an attempt to maintain this alliance with the Romulans. I think it's time I remind you of what happens when a Klingon loses patience.
Oh, do show me, Corrin. No, Federation has all the cool toys. Ugh. I don't like Corrin. I don't like Corrin at all. I don't know if you could tell. I quite dislike her. Her and her fucking vocabulary, which apparently does not extend to the proper pronunciation of her own goddamn ship's name. The ship is called the Bortosk. Not the Bortisque, for fuck's sake. Alright, Corrin, bring it on.
Fighting over this sphere is not an option. precisely what would benefit the Undine. The Voth chose to fight instead of cooperate. They were destroyed. We can choose not to be enemies. It was time we did so.
Well, Corin?
The Klingon Empire will not sit and wait while the Federation and Romulans continue to claim these powerful weapons for themselves.
What did I tell you?
This conversation is not...
I want the cool toys, too! Very well. And you, Commander Jarrah?
The Romulan Republic will continue to take responsibility for areas
The
within
fuck?
our jurisdiction, but I do not wish to cause a rift in what has been a successful joint action.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just make this Voyager? Instead of, like, some ugly C-store ship.
However, I will not be put in a position where I must choose between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. We have agreements on both sides that must be honored. Sub-Commander Cole can handle the details. I am a ship captain, not an administrator.
Very well.
Cooper's departure has lifted the miasma in my mind. An affliction that I did not even realize was there. He was influencing me. He used the psychic abilities of the Undine to influence my thoughts. And the results are an effect of my failure. I should have been able to detect his influence.
What now?
We have fulfilled our mission to neutralize the jump capabilities of the Solanae sphere, only to open up a gateway that the Undine can now use to reach our space. They will no longer have to create rifts from fluidic space.
But they
Was
could...
this Cooper's plan all along?
But... They can create rifts... But they can create rifts through fluid... Why would they need a gateway to enter our space when they can create rifts from fluidic space anywhere there's a quantum singularity? Or any... Like... No. Like, if they can just create a rift and travel between realities, why would they need this to invade? Why do the Undine need this to invade? Why do they care? Like, so they're clearly already in the Alpha Quadrant because they have infiltrators there. We haven't been to the Delta Quadrant since Voyager. Like, this is the first time we're back to the Delta Quadrant. You know, it's not like the books where you have like the full circle fleet that routinely like travels from the Delta Quadrant and back. You know, supporting Voyager on their return exploration mission to the Delta Quadrant. So clearly, the Undine have no problem getting to the Alpha Quadrant in vast numbers. So, what's the problem? Why do they need this? Like, we like just like down like only like 100 light years or so away from Earth, which is fairly close in galactic terms. We in fluid dynamics, we saw a shitload of Undine near a rift that, you know, if they're within that range, then like who fucking cares about a gateway? If you're like 100 light years from Earth, like shit, like who cares? Like you can literally just jump, like open a fluidic rift to like Sol or like Kronos. Especially Kronos, because the Undine fucking hate the Klingons, and the feeling's mutual. So that would be, like, the first place they'd visit. Because the Klingons are the ones who have been, like fighting them non-stop for, like, a decade now. More than that. So why do the Undine need the... Why does God need a starship? Like, why do the Undine need the gate? It doesn't make sense. I
know you assisted in the destruction of the Iconian gateway in fluidic space, but I fear
that mission's not canon anymore, Tuvok.
Servants of their home. I suggest we return to Sub-Commander Cole. We must attempt to save the fragile peace of the Alliance.
Tuvok is mentioning something that does not happen anymore in this game. In the old Cardassian art, well, in the old Undine art, there was a mission where you went into fluidic space and you landed on, you beamed down to like an area in fluidic space where the Undine were processing people they had kidnapped in order to replace. And you were rescuing them, and you found a functional Iconian gateway, like, in this place. A functional Iconian gateway that the Undine were supposedly using. And the idea was that the Undine, I think what they were going for is the Undine were originally servitors of the Iconians. So the Undine were originally not stupid. Like they were infiltrating people and they were attacking everyone because they were allies of the Iconians, not because they were fucking morons who are uniquely positioned to know that the Iconians are fucking everyone over, and uniquely in a position to unite people against them. So this is referring to something that does not happen anymore. It has been removed from the game. But I did play through those missions with Lord Ice. So if you want to go see that, links in the description.
We have fulfilled our mission to neutralize the jump capabilities of the Solanae sphere, only to open up a gateway that the Undine can now use to reach our space. They will no longer have to create rifts from fluidic space. Was this Cooper's plan all along? I suggest we return to Sub-Commander Cole. We must attempt to save the fragile peace of the Alliance.
Report.
The sphere is under Federation control.
This sphere is only accessible through an Alliance-controlled gateway.
Then perhaps it is time to end this alliance.
Corrin.
This is neither the time nor the place for this.
Commander Jarrah is correct. The Undine are a threat to us all. Now they have direct access to our space. I propose a summit. We must decide together what we must do to protect the Alpha Quadrant. Our disputes may need to be put aside in the face of a greater enemy. I volunteer to mediate these talks. Dr. Cooper manipulated me to achieve his goals. It is only logical that I take responsibility for what has happened here.
Very well, Vulcan. We will finish this later.
To be continued. No, it's the next mission. It's Surface Tension, where we make the jump to 2410. Alright, my tray is fine. But I'm not seeing extra power in my warp thingamajig. Ah, all my traits are still here. Nice. Okay. Well, let's report. I'm pleasantly surprised. That always breaks for me. It always breaks my traits. I could not have anticipated all of this. I feel for Admiral Tuvok, but I was fooled by Cooper's disguise as well. Tuvok and I will begin working on the next steps. We need to get everyone to sit together and discuss what we should do before we start shooting at one another. I will contact you for your aid once we have concrete plans. You can rest assured we will need your help in this. And you get these, which are okay, but they're vendor trash to me. And that was A Step Between Stars. Really cool mission. And the next one is pretty good as well. Really long mission, too. Jeez. I think this might be at least another two-parter. So, we're probably going to do A Step Between Stars from PC as well. It seems to be working fairly well. The reason I stopped playing from PC is because I was having massive connection issues with the server. But it seems to have been pretty stable so far. Unlike PS4, it hasn't crashed my entire system once. So there's that, which the PS4 crashes twice. Or still crashes my PS4 twice in Sphere of Influence. So I appreciate that not happening here. But I'll see you next time for Surface Tension in the end of the Solanae arc. Really short arc, but a really cool one. And then we start Delta Rising. Oi. Delta Rising. Delta Rising's gonna take some time. I'm probably gonna step on the gas in Rise of the Redshirt just to get through Delta Rising because of how long this arc is. Oh my god. But I'll see you next time for Surface Tension. Later.